from break. Hope you all are ready to get started with our community health record training series. So we have Milwaukee Area Health Education Center on the call with us to help us facilitate these trainings. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Harvey and Ingrid to give an introduction and start the training.
Well, thank you, Megan, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, all AmeriCorps members. And let us first start off by congratulating all of you for joining this AmeriCorps program. It's incredible what you will all be doing in the future year ahead of you, and I know that you will do wonderful things in your communities. And we're going to try to help you with a little bit of education, insight, experience that we're going to be sharing with you, not only ourselves, but over these 7 training sessions. We have some terrific speakers going to be joining us, doctors, masters. We have people with master's degrees. We have biologists. We just have all these wonderful experts that will be joining us as we facilitate these trainings. Yes, we are with Milwaukee Area Health Education Center, and I am Harvey. I am the Director of CHW Workforce Development, and my colleague today is Ingrid, who is the Director of CHW Education. Ingrid and I run this program together, and we are fortunate also to have a wonderful team with us some of them will be working with us this afternoon and the rest of the week. Again, we are looking forward to spending these next 4 days with you. We hope that we can bring you a ton of information and just really good stuff that will help you feel more confident and more aware as you go into your assignments and your missions as AmeriCorps members. So there are many of you on the call, and as we are going through our presentation, and even for the presentations of our guest instructors that will be joining us this week, please feel free to ask questions or make comments in the chat. There's a little bit too many of us to raise your hand and stop the presentations, but we'll try to monitor the chat the best we can. For this session, it's only Ingrid and myself, but for other sessions, we hope to have another member with us to help. Or if some of the Marshfield Clinic team can help us, if there's something we missed, please jump in and share the chat with us. So as we move on, I'm going to hand it over and introduce Ingrid. And Ingrid, I'll let you take the mic.
Thank you, Harvey. Hola, buenos días. Like Harvey mentioned, my name is Ingrid. I'm part of the team for Milwaukee AHEC. So since there's a lot of people here, we're going to use the chat for this one. So I hope you're seeing the right screen without my notes. And I just lost the chat. Oh, sorry. So there we go. So I can't see the chat, but I will later on look at it. But let's share who we have here. So please share in the chat what is the name of your host site, what population your host site serves, and what is your role going to be, and how will you impact public health? This last question we will visit it toward our whole presentation today. So we just want to know. Okay, seeing things popping in the chat. I'll give you a couple minutes. Okay. And we got some schools program, sweet water. Next sober living. Okay, we're seeing some variety here. Okay. Health Foundation. Okay, so yeah, we have some variety here. So throughout the presentation, if you have any questions, I'm gonna try to have the chat open here, but it is a little difficult for me to see the chat, but keep it coming. We like to know who we have in the room. So before we dive into our topics, these are our learning objectives for today. So toward the end of the session, we are hoping that you will be able to define what community is and what makes a community healthy. There's various definitions. Everyone has a definition of their own. We're going to visit what different organizations define community as and healthy community. Hopefully you'll learn a little bit of who are community health workers if you haven't heard of them. They're amazing people in your community, and also learn a little bit about our training for community health worker. We're not going to dive too much into it, but just the connection with our training and social determinants of health and how community health workers address that within their job, within their role, and understanding the impact of CHWs or community health workers that have in their community. So we might use CHW, community health workers, interchangeable. So just to give you that little note, CHWs and is the same as community health workers. So any questions before we dive into our topic today? Just want to make sure. Okay. So thank you for keep it coming in of your role, your site. So I'll pass it on to Harvey.
All right, so we're going to be looking at a video here, and before we do, again, a large part of our presentation today is we're of course looking through the eyes of community health workers, but you know, many of you in the positions that you are doing and you working with the community, you're going to be doing very, very similar work as community health workers. You're going to be out there assisting them, may it be health behavior, may it be improvements within their community, but it's all about making an impact. It's about going and making a difference within the community that you're working. As you're going to look at this next video, just think a little bit about, okay, I'm going to be going into this for this coming year. What impact do I hope to do and hope to make within the community? Because we all do. We can all make an impact. So as you view this, just think a little bit about yourself.
When we're laying on our deathbed, you're not going to worry about how much money you had, how much power you had, how much prestige. You're going to see that that was all game, that was all an illusion. The only thing that's going to matter is the impact you had on other people's lives.
We are all on a separate journey. But the beautiful thing about our life here on this earth is at my funeral, they ain't gonna talk about my success. They're gonna talk about who Nick was and how Nick lived and how Nick loved and encouraged.
Success is incredibly important, but even more important than success, it's having an impact. It's knowing you haven't walked the planet in vain. It's knowing that because you've been here, you've blessed lives, you've developed people, and you have made the world a better place.
The effect you have on others is the most valuable currency there is. Everything you gain in life will rot and fall apart, and all that will be left of you is what was in your heart.
Life is a mirror. And life gives us not what we want. Life gives us who we are. When you were born, you cried while the world rejoiced. Live your life in such a way that when you die, the world cries while you rejoice.
Thank you. Thanks, Ingrid. It's all about impact. It's about the difference we make in what we do. All of you have made this amazing commitment to AmeriCorps. You're all going to make an impact on the people you meet, the organizations you work with. I'd just like you to think for a couple minutes and put in the chat. And I know this is a lot because maybe you haven't spent a lot of time in your assignment. Maybe some of you are there for your second year. But think a little bit and put in the chat, what would be your goals right now? And it probably will change. But what is your goals going to be? And what type of impact do you want to have at your site and the community that you're working with? I'm going to give you a couple minutes to answer that in the chat. Yeah, I know it's a heavy way to start the sessions in our trainings, but you know, we can do things. We can do magical things in helping others. Great comments, great goals. The state is really lucky to have all of you going out there and being there for them. Thank you. Thanks for sharing. Please keep them coming. We love reading these things and sharing it with our team as well. Get that. Boy. Your team leaders here, and I'm sure the Marshfield Clinic group loves to read this, just knowing the passion that you have carrying forward. So thank you. Thanks for participating in that. I will hand it back to Ingrid.
Yes, thank you. So if you're noticing here, we like the sessions to be very interactive. We're virtual, so it tends to kind of becomes boring at some point, being hours staring at our screen. So throughout the session, keep this engagement going. We love it, and it's a way to pass the time real fast. So with this, I have this activity. You can use the QR code if you're on a computer and you have your phone accessible. If not, you can go to Paul EV communityhealth.com, and I'm putting the link in the chat. And you're going to answer the question, what does community means to you, using one word. I'll leave the instructions here. I activated this, so it should be working. Okay, we're seeing some responses. Okay. So what does community means to everyone here? So we're seeing togetherness, support, acceptance, belonging, connection, fellowship, relationship, safe. Yeah.
For those of you who haven't used this before, the obvious is the larger the word, the more people that have mentioned it.
Yeah. And if you put a word, if you could log out, I think it's full, so it's not accepting words. So as you put the word in, just close that tab, or to give opportunity to others. Okay. So you have the link there, so you can go through back and put your answers in there. I'll move on for time. But yes, all of this, it's no wrong answer. Community, what community means to you? It means many things. So when we look at the definition of community, this is what the World Health Organization says, and the CDC. So even big organizations have two different definitions for community. For the WHO, community is a group of people that may be in the same space or not, but who share common interests, concerns, identities. They could be local, they could be national or international, but they share that common interests, concerns, or identity. Versus CDC defines community as a specific group living in the same geographic area. So they are sharing the space, and they share those common cultures, values, and norms. So you see the difference. One, it's people that live together, close together, and the other one, it doesn't matter if they're together or not. They're just sharing that common interest. So with this definition and your definition of community, what do you think makes a community healthy? You can share it in the chat. One word. What do you think makes a community healthy? And you can relate it to the role you have too. Trust, yeah. Support, mutual support, understanding. Motivation, yes. Empathy. Equity, open communication, knowledge, information, power, engagement. Yes, all of this and more makes a community healthy. So when we talk about community and the various definitions, us at Milwaukee AHEC, we teach about community and we teach about health, and specifically public health. So with that said, we need to talk about community health and what makes a community healthy. Sorry about that. So what makes a community healthy? You all mentioned different ways to make that community healthy. So if you look at this picture, this is the expectation of a perfect community, or a community that's healthy. We see that they're happy, they're together, they're smiling, they look healthy, strong, they're here, empowered. But when we see the reality of some communities, this is how they look like. This might be the grocery store that they go to to buy their weekly groceries or their milk, their water, their cereal. This school over here, this might be the school that they just attended, and now it's closed down and they have to travel an hour and a half to go to the nearest school. The park that they could play in, but it's not safe to play in because the grass is outgrown. The play equipment might be broken, dirty. And this is the air they breathe. We see this every day when we drive to different communities, especially when we drive to Milwaukee, which is we have a lot of buildings. You might see communities like this. Or if you're up north, more in the rural areas, they have to travel long ways for a school or a grocery store or a pharmacy. These are the realities. Yes, food deserts are an enormous issue. So we're going to take some time, and in groups, if they could help me out with the groups, we're going to reflect on these questions as a group. We're going to have about 10 minutes, and you're going to think of the little things that we have talked about, all the things you know within your community. What makes a community healthy? Is that community responsible for a person's health? If it's so, why or why not? Or if it's in the middle, what are your thoughts? What things in your community influence behavioral choice? And what are the factors impacting health? So you're going to have 10 minutes. It might not be enough. We will revisit this again. But just wanted you guys to take some notes, talk to each other, take some notes, and we'll come back and we'll ask 2 or 3 groups to share their thoughts.
You can take a picture of the slide if you want to remember the questions. But you should have plenty to talk about. There's a lot to digest.
And I kept
give you just another moment to take a picture, and then I will. Okay, I'll open the rooms then.
Yeah, sorry. I'm gonna put them in the chat so you can have them.
Oh, perfect.
There they are.
Perfect. All right, and then Sophie will put you in your groups, and we'll try to give you a 1 minute or so, or some sort of warning of when you're coming back, but about 10 minutes to discuss.
Thank you for putting them into group.
Sophie's now our breakout room expert, because I was doing breakouts yesterday and I failed miserably.
Thank you very much, Sophia.
Yeah.
Luke
You're
or
welcome.
Caitlin, did you get the notification to join your group? Okay, Luke went.
Be back in about 3 minutes.
Sounds good, Harvey. Caitlin looks froze to me. Okay, she's in a group too. Excellent. Perfect. All right, look at the time. 10:53.
So you had 11:03 or 4.
Those
Nice
are really
job.
great questions.
Mm-hmm. That video too, I'm still, as soon as it started, I was like, oh no. I haven't seen that one before. It was good.
Allison, this reminds me that when we had people make up trainings last year, I had them answer all the questions in the chat and in the breakouts. And so I'm just kind of jotting, like already on this session, there's 4 different groups of questions. So
Yeah, we read the feedback.
Are we still recording now?